Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Care Managers Inner Circle. My name is Jonathan and welcome to day 3 of Book Week here at the Inner Circle. We've had some amazing speakers. Of course, Neil Jerd kicking off the week a couple of days ago with leadership. We've had Liam Palmer last night, and tonight we've got an amazing guy who is utterly not overwhelmed at all. And here he is Mr. Martyn Dawes. Martyn, welcome, sir. Welcome to the Inner Circle Book Week. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. What a lovely introduction. Yeah, I may be a little bit overwhelmed, but that's okay. That's okay. Well, thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm good. I'm good. I'm pleased to be here.
It's great to see you, mate. And look, I've got to say, you know when someone, and I've got to be honest with you, when someone comes out with a book title and you go, damn it, that's the best book title ever. Why didn't I think of that? I thought when you brought out The Overwhelmed Manager, I was like, oh my God, that guy has nailed it. Nailed it. So where did you get the idea? I mean, and tell us about your background, mate.
Well, the idea came to me because I'm also a coach in my spare time, as if home manager have any spare time. I've done a course at the beginning of this year, and part of coaching is actually accessing your own inner wisdom and finding out what's going on for you inside and finding out who you truly are. And when you quieten your thoughts down, these brilliant ideas come. And one morning I was just a little bit quiet, and it just came to me, The Overwhelmed Manager. I thought, yeah, that's what I'm going to go for. It just sort of really stuck. Yeah. So I've been around care for. I used to be a prison governor, by the way.
Bloody hell, no! Oh my God.
Yeah. So I know a little bit about stress and being overwhelmed and being anxious. And then I went into care about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And and I've been. It's a people business, isn't it? So it's just dealing with different types of people.
It is, and there's no rocket science. It's about people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's about people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I mean your title, as I said again, was just. I mean, you couldn't get anything more on message, more on point. Because after the year we've all had, I mean, a lot of people don't believe what I'm about to say, which is, I did 16 years in the Majesty's Forces, from Iraq to Bosnia to 3.5 years in Northern Ireland. So, and yet the toughest thing I've ever done in my life is what I'm doing now. And the last 18 months has been the toughest 18 months of my life.
Yeah. And
people go, you must be joking. I go, no, this is a tough gig, guys. And times of overwhelm is so true. So, mate, that's so so the book itself. Just tell me about what. So it's obviously a go-to guide for hopefully avoiding overwhelm.
It sort of started in around Christmas time. I put up a little post in one of the Facebook groups that said, who's feeling overwhelmed? How are people feeling? And the first choice was totally overwhelmed. The second one was I'm okay. The third one was I'm taking medication because of the stress that I'm feeling. And I thought I might get 20 or 30 responses. Well, about 400 responses later, I was like, oh, there's a real problem here. There's a serious issue here, because half of them were saying they were feeling overwhelmed or stressed. 10% were saying they were taking medication because of it. And because of my coaching background and because of the understanding that I've learned about where my experience is coming from, I thought I can do something about this. I can make people feel. I can point people in a direction where they can feel better, because it's just learning about where our experience is coming from.
Yeah.
And we live in a misunderstanding. And that's why the first part of the book says the first stage of escaping a trap is to realize you are in one. So the book is really pointing people gently and sometimes humorously towards realizing why they're feeling what they're feeling and how they're falling into a trap and what they can do about that. And the answer is so simple. And I just thought I can help people here. I can help people to see that. So from that, you know, some people have started to. I've started to coach. Are coaching senior operational managers, and what I'm also doing is, which is lovely to see, is some more like-minded providers are starting to have me coaching their managers who are starting to feel overwhelmed.
Yeah,
who are starting to really struggle, because it's better and easier.
Can I just tell people, right, I don't mean to interrupt you, Martyn. I've got a meowing cat. Right, hold on. I've got to show people this.
Yeah.
Oh, Theo. Right. This is a reason why. I'm looking after Theo for my my middle son. And I think he's about sort of maybe eight weeks old. But he's absolutely adorable. So if you hear it, and we've got him in here because the dogs are out next door. But sorry, Martyn. I was just getting a bit overwhelmed with a cat.
So yeah, it was. So, you know, providers are seeing that actually, well, the more forward-thinking ones are saying, actually, if I can save this manager, if I can get them in quickly enough and coach them through that, I'm going to save recruitment costs. I'm going to save. You know what happens when a manager leaves a care home, it gets really wobbly. Yeah, I can save that. I can save reputational damage. There's so much that you can save just by keeping a manager and supporting them in place, and not going in and giving them another action plan. The last thing you want is an action plan, and that's normally the first thing we get. You know, it makes me really cross. So yeah, I wanted to put something out there that people could read it and actually start to think differently. And some of the feedback I've been getting has been, you're making me think differently. Yeah. Even just reading this book, I'm seeing things differently. And invariably when I'm coaching people, that's what they say. I'm not the same person.
And is it about reframing the experience, reframing your own life?
No, it's about understanding where your experience is coming from. Yeah, that's all it is. Understanding why we feel what we feel, and how life works. And when we get that, one of the things I like to say is, it's like nothing's changed, but everything is different.
Yeah. Okay.
And that sounds like a bizarre thing to say, but anybody who's been coached by me will tell you that is exactly what happens. That nothing's changed, but everything feels different because they're seeing it differently. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. So we can change the way we look at things intellectually, and that's what we tend to do. We tend to think, well, I'm going to put a lot of effort into reframing, into thinking positive thoughts, but we don't need to do that. Because it's just a way of understanding. It's a way of seeing the world differently. Yeah. And when you get it, it's a ping light bulb moment, and everything's different. Nothing will ever be the same again. It's like
yeah. I mean that's. I say you do surprise me actually, because initially I thought it would be more of a book of, eat well, and I'm sure there's aspects in that, and exercise and look after yourself.
No.
Okay, well that is very different.
Yeah,
and that's that is interesting.
Well, you see, if you were walking down the road with someone who is scared of a dog, and you love dogs, so you're walking down the road, two of you, and the dog comes out. One of you is going to go, oh, look, it's a lovely dog, and go up and stroke it. And the other one will be turning around and running up the other way, saying, oh my God, it's a dog, he's going to bite me.
Yeah.
How can that possibly be what's happening if the two of you are thinking the same thing about the dog? The experience is not coming from the dog, because if it was, everybody would think the same about the dog.
Yeah.
That's not what's happening. The dog is not making you feel anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is fascinating. I've got to say, this is a lot deeper and a lot more influential than I thought it would be, actually. So but this is why, you know, and I say people go through life, and you know, there's your amazing experience, and there's every single one of the care managers out there who has an incredible experience, and you know, there's several books in everyone, and you've got the likes of Neil Jerd and yourself and Liam, all these fabulous guys and girls who are putting their best thoughts on paper. Why wouldn't you read that? Why wouldn't you sort of tap in to the best golden nuggets of information? Yeah. And that's why, you know, the Kindle, that's why audio books are just amazing. You know, and I say to people, look, yes, you know, listening to Lady Gaga and all the rest of it, yeah, that's it, that's good, but put an audio book on when you're running, when you're on the commute, when you're, you know, is just, you know, it's life changing. Some of this stuff.
You see, you could be listening to a book with someone else present, and one of you loves it and one of you hates it. If your experience is coming from that book, how can you both have different experiences?
Yeah.
And that's the same with everything. It's the same with life. We think that how we're feeling is telling us something about what's going on around us, and that's not what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's the life-changing thing. So that's the first life-changing thing that someone can understand. And the second life-changing thing is who they truly are. And every single person watching this, you, me, and everybody, all the home managers, we're all perfect and whole and wonderful, and have just forgotten.
Yeah. So even more reason why they've got to get this book.
I might be.
I said to everyone, look, tonight is about plugging books, but I've got to say, you know, you've got to get there are some, you know, your book is, I mean, the feedback has been phenomenal. You know, people have just said, look, you can't read this stuff because it is so changing and so influential. And
I've tried to make it quite light and very short. Well, I wouldn't even call them chapters, sections. So a section may be half a page, or it may be a couple of pages, but no longer than that, because you want something that you can read and go, oh, that's really impacted me. I'm gonna have to think about that for a while, and put the book down, and then you may not pick it up again for a couple of days, because that could be going around your head thinking, hang on a minute, I'm still trying to process that life-changing thing that I've just learned. You know, so that's why I've done it like that. So it's sort of like short bursts of really powerful stuff, I think, anyway.
I mean, the takeaways from myself from tonight is that, you know, for all those directors, CEOs, trustees who are out there, is that the time and effort and sheer expense of putting right people, round pegs and round holes, you know, these amazing people, guys and girls, that you really need to look after them. And certainly their skill set now is very different from the skill set maybe of sort of 10 or 15 years ago for a care manager, because this mentoring, this coaching ability of looking after your, I say subordinates, your team, your troops, your, you know, whatever analogy you want to use, but, you know, your team, you know, understanding them, deeply understanding them, what makes them tick, you know, so they can understand themselves better and situate themselves in the bigger plan of where the organization is going is just so important, you know. And I think that it's not about audits, it's not about action plans
or trackers to monitor other trackers. If you've got a form to check another form, what's going wrong there? It's ludicrous, you know. It's poor, sloppy management and poor, sloppy guidance because it's easy. It's the equivalent of sticking a notice on the wall and saying, you got to do it that way because there's a notice there that says it. Rather than me saying to you, right, Jonathan, I want you to do it this way because this is what will happen if you do it this way. You really understand, it's embedded, becomes part of you, why you would do it a certain way, a task, rather than reading a notice on the wall. The first thing, if I go into a care home that's in trouble, invariably there will be notices all over the wall saying, signed by the management, which is my pet hate. My first job is I just go around and rip them all down because I just hate it.
Signed by the overwhelmed manager.
Signed by the overwhelmed management. You know? but you can see how we can get that, how we can get to that point, when local authorities are coming and saying, well, why is that signature not there? You've got to have someone go around to sign all your turning charts at the end of the day, so someone knows that they've been done. No, you don't. You just got to make sure that someone signs it when they turn them. You don't need to. Who's going to check the checker? And you can have someone check the check. Where does it stop? It's just common sense. Let's get it right at the very base level, and we can clear away so much rubbish. It really makes me cross, and I'm always fighting, local authority about having to put in another bit of paper or another tracker or another action plan. I remember one home I went into, and they come in to do a quality audit. It was already inadequate. They come in to do a quality audit.
Yeah.
Left me a 12-page action plan. And I just looked at it, I threw it in the bin. I'm not even going to look at that. I've already got an action plan to work with. That is not going to give me anything extra. This is a hearts and minds job. This is not a tick in a box job.
Yeah.
And that's where we went. What possible use is that going to be to anybody? So what I used to do in that particular scenario was I used to have short-term action plans. So I'd have 2, maybe 3 actions. Right, I'm going to achieve that by next week.
Yeah.
And that was it. And we just ticked them off a few at a time. But it's just this culture of what we need is more paperwork, more checks. No, we don't. We need less paperwork. We need less checks. We need more hearts and minds. We need people on the floor. We need managers guiding and supporting their staff and being there for them. That's what we need.
Yeah, and I mean the great thing is, because you've only just told me about, is we're going to see you at the Care Show this year.
Yes.
So the Care Managers Inner Circle, for all those out there, the Care Managers Inner Circle, we have our annual conference. Part of the Care Show is the biggest care show in the UK at the NEC over the 13th and 14th of October. And of course, Martyn's going to be there, not looking overwhelmed, looking fantastic with his books. And I think, am I right in saying you're speaking on the 13th? Is that right, Mark?
Yes, I'm speaking on the 13th, 12:10 to 1:10. I'm going to be awesome. So come along and listen, because I'm going to be great.
I love it.
Not worried. Listen, go out there. I'm going to just wow them. So come along and listen.
It's great. Well, I mean, and also I've got to say to everyone's going to come along to the Care Managers Inner Circle stand at C52. It's going to have the biggest battle knickers you've seen in your life. If 5 to 6 meters above it, you will not miss it. But it'd be great to see you there, Martyn, as well. Yeah. And now, if they want to know a little more about you and your book and things like that, where can they go, my friend? Where can they go?
They can go to my website, which is martyndaws.com.
There, and there we have it. As if we rehearsed it.
My magic's really slick. But what I've got on there actually is I've got lots of blogs. I've got about 26, 27 blogs on there. I've got some videos that people find really useful, only short ones, 2-3 minutes, nothing strenuous. So there's lots of information on there that people just go on and have a listen or a read. And it's all quite light stuff. There's nothing really heavy on there, but it may make you think differently. So there's a bit of a warning for you. Great.
No, I mean, that's one of the things that's coming. It's very different and very different conversation than I thought we would have. And that's intriguing. Look, Martyn, I know you're a busy guy. And you're doing all sorts of stuff, as well as obviously you're writing, and we look forward to seeing you at the Care Show later on this year. But my friend, thank you so much for this evening and being part of our Inner Circle Book Week. And we will see you. We'll see you at the Care Show. There's his book. Get onto the website. So it is the website that they can order it from. Is that right?
They can order it. They can order the PDF from the website. There's a link to Kindle, and there's a shopping cart where you can get the paperback as well.
Hey, right, posh. God.
Nice paperback. Well, they're proper quality as well. None of your cheap rubbish.
Mate, we will see you at the Care Show. See you very soon. And once again, so ladies and gentlemen, many thanks. So thank you to Martyn. What an absolute star, particularly while we've got kittens running around this room here. Once again, thank you to Martyn. The rest of the authors this week We've got the rest of the week. We've got another 4 authors still to go. We've got Big Ian as well, who's going to be on tomorrow night. He's going to be absolutely awesome. And we will see you very soon at the Care Show. Remember, the Account Managers Inner Circle annual conference, 13th to 14th of October. See you there soon, and tune in for the rest of the week for more of the same authors. See you very soon.